So, one thing really, really annoys me about some of the discussion for the game yesterday, where the narrative is now, oh yeah, like Caitlin Clark was terrible because she like didn't get to play her game, and Steph White tried to just ruin the game for Caitlin Clark, and I'm like, I of all the things, yesterday was not the day for that. Of all the days. Because if you guys don't know, again, yesterday was one of those games where the Indiana Fever needed to win. Like when you play, especially when you play in the playoffs, how you like the only thing that matters in the playoffs is who scores more points at the end of the day. Winning ugly is something that happens a lot. Like we're seeing it with the Spurs at times. We're seeing it obviously even with Wemby is one of the greatest players. He was one of the best players in the world who looks like a future GOAT. Like there are times where you don't win pretty. Most of the time when it comes down to it, dogfight games, everyone talks about it where it's like game sevens are never good basketball games. They're never good basketball games. And it's like, yeah, game seven, even 2026 or 2016 finals was a tense game. It wasn't a good game. Like there was like 4 minutes where no one scored in an NBA game. And that's what this felt like. This felt like a playoff atmosphere. And this was a grinded out game. Something that the Indiana Fever, and especially Caitlin Clark, was not able to do in the past. This was a game where I genuinely believe that if Caitlin Clark makes one more three-pointer, and she missed a really bad layup in, I think it was the fourth quarter, she missed a reverse layup that she should never miss, and if she just makes one more of those threes, Caitlin Clark suddenly has 22 points, 8 assists, and let's just say, fucking two of her passes that were to fouls were and one. Like Lexi doesn't shit herself on that layup for the foul, and one of the kicks when she kicked to Mo Billings in the paint, she doesn't miss the skyhook. Suddenly that game is 20 without Caitlin doing anything different, just based on 2 misses, still not the greatest shooting game, 8 for 17. And 2 shots that she should make, and two of her teammates making shots, making gimmies. And suddenly you're looking at 22 and 10. And a game where not only that, she took over in the third quarter. When the going got tough, she stepped up while taking care of the ball. Like she threw one bad pass in the entire game. It was a chest pass to I don't know what she was doing in her second turnover. Her third turnover, she got hacked. She got hacked by Angel, and then Jordan Canada hacked her. She got hacked by 2 of them. So you're looking now, when it comes to Caitlin, at, heck, even she made another free throw, where I feel like this is, if you're asking me, where do I rank this in terms of Caitlin Clark games? I rank this very, very high. Because you guys saw how the Atlanta Dream defended Caitlin. It is a bit of a concern that they couldn't sell out gamers for a Caitlin Clark Angel Reese game. That is a bit concerning. But like you guys have seen when it comes to Caitlin, like she has had games where everyone talks about some of her greatest games ever. People talk about the Atlanta Dream game last year, where this is exactly what she did. She had 12 points and 9 assists in that game. But she came in at halftime and took over. The team changed how they played. She guarded Jordan Canada, who had 26 first half points and held her to 4 in the second half. Like, it was Caitlin taking over. Caitlin Clark took on. She was willing to take the tougher defensive assignments. Jordan Canada has been hooping. There were times she switched on to Alicia Gray. There were times she switched on to Ryan Howard. All 3 of Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and she's not Grace Van Sluten, Raven Johnson, all took on super tough defensive assignments. And it's one of those things where you're looking now at these players and it's like, okay. We matched up to a good team and we just outplayed them. We played harder. We got the breaking ball. Maisha Hines-Allen, for the first time in Angel Reese's career, got physically bullied. She got physically beaten. And I get it. MHA, you also take into account again that MHA are calling some bullshit fouls. But MHA physically put it up to Angel Reese, and I haven't seen that yet. But I'm really impressed by Caitlin. And it's like, yes, there's been games where Caitlin has taken over because she shot the ball well. And there's also been games that I feel like were better than this from Caitlin where she didn't shoot the ball well. Like the Mercury game in her rookie year, where it was her first time beating someone a team above 500. These are like iconic games. But like some of the iconic games from 2024, like, do you want to know what game nobody remembers? 30. Nobody remembers this game. 35-6, 3 steals, 3 blocks. Nobody remembers that game. Why? Because she turned it over twice down the stretch in a close loss. And this was a lot of garbage time points. Like 13, 15 free throw line. Basically, they were intentionally fouling Caitlin so she didn't hit threes to get them back into it. This is an iconic game. 11, 8, and 6 on 4 of 11 shooting. 1 of 1 free throw line. First game versus Angel Reese when they won. This was a game where it just looked like she was dominating the game. I'm trying to think of other iconic games where people are so bogged down on the box score and are like looking into this and being like, oh, Caitlin's not allowed to play her game. Caitlin played her game yesterday. She just missed shots. Like, where I'm just trying to find one of these here. Minnesota. Pre-Olympic break. Minnesota, the win. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists on 5 of 17 shooting. Why is this an iconic game? Because she scored 10 points in the fourth quarter and they came back from down 10. She had 10 points and 4 assists in the fourth quarter. The Mercury, 15, 9, and 12 on 4 of 14 shooting. Scored or assisted on 20 straight points. Or on 18 of 20 points. That is a factual thing that happened. And even in yesterday's game, like some people talk about, again, the iconic game last year, 12, 4, and 9. It's one of those things where Caitlin Clark missed a couple of shots. This is the first time this season Caitlin Clark's played her game. Against Washington, the whole team was struggling and she just said, fuck this, I'm not going to let us lose. I thought she was really good against Golden State. The first time. And then the Seattle game, I felt like Caitlin was, the Seattle Storm were terrible. I thought she was pretty good in that game given the circumstances. I thought they were bad. But you've then got a game like Portland where she just couldn't get into rhythm. Yesterday, I thought she was really good. And you have to win ugly sometimes in sports. And Caitlin has shown an ability to win ugly that she didn't have in the past. Like, Caitlin did not have an ability to play well in ugly games. She didn't. Like, Caitlin, when the game got ugly, again, if you look in 2024, the Connecticut Sun made things ugly against her in the playoffs. I thought she was really good in game 2, by the way. The Aces. Was the ugliest game of basketball ever. Like, this one was like the worst game of basketball ever, if you guys don't remember it. Basically, the talk was, could Caitlin Clark go and win MVP? Or, and if the Fever win this game, suddenly they, was it the first Aces one? Yeah. Where they could have went, they were 19 and 17 at this stage. They would have went 20 and 17. And they would have 14 losses. It's like, okay, this is close enough to Caitlin could actually be MVP. And Aja Wilson, this was the fakest 27-point game ever. Aja was terrible. And Caitlin was equally as bad. Caitlin and Aja, it was literally like, which of these two are trying to lose the game more? They were horrendous. They're both horrendous. And this game right here was another ugly one. Because the Vegas Aces made it an ugly game. Like, Aja had 15 here, Caitlin had 18, 8 and 9, nearly a triple-double. But it's like, both of them were poor. And there are ugly games as well. Like, the Minnesota Lynx made games ugly. Caitlin struggled a bit. Even though statistically she was still putting up numbers, she didn't play well. And then when the game was free and open, like, we saw a team go and win, 7 of 8? 8 for 10 against Atlanta? coming out of the Olympic break, like even beating the Connecticut Sun. We saw her struggle against Connecticut Sun. Even though the stats might be different, we saw her struggle to impact ugly games. And that's one thing she did yesterday. She impacted an ugly game. And basketball's not always pretty, especially when you're playing the Dream. Now, if the Indiana Fever come out against the New York Liberty, who are not a team to play ugly basketball, if they come out on Saturday and make this an ugly game, and they don't, and Caitlin Clark, they're playing a slow down. Caitlin Clark's having to, try to play lockdown defense on Pauline Astier instead of just taking possessions off and guarding Leo. Then we can start to have questions. But after last night's game, to beat Atlanta, it has to be ugly. Unfortunately, you're not going to beat the Atlanta Dream playing this free-flowing style of basketball and not fully locking in on defense. You're just not. You're just not beating the Atlanta Dream in that way. And the fact is that Caitlin now has an ability that she didn't have in the past to win these type of games, to play well in these type of games, to impact these type of games. And the hope is that there were flashes of Caitlin still pushing the tempo. There were flashes of it. In that third quarter, there were flashes of it. And you want to see that over longer periods of time than like 3 or 4 minutes. But I am willing to, again, give this all the benefit of the doubt because, look, if it turns out that things don't work out, cool. I think everybody knows nothing's happening till the end of the year. If it turns out that Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White just can't get it done, if they lose first round of the playoffs or struggle to make the playoffs, which is still a possibility, then you're now looking at a situation where it's like, okay, cool, we trade one of them. Or we either fire Steph or trade Caitlin. It's probably easier to trade Caitlin. But at the same time, if you end up going and winning, then you've succeeded by just saying, you know what, fuck it, we've held on, we've held out, and this has worked. Because there's been plenty of times where things don't seem to work and then they do. Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Arsenal and Arteta. There are a lot of situations where teams hang on for too long and it's a disaster, but there are also a lot of situations where teams are about to give up, they don't, and suddenly they go and turn it all around and win. But anyway, yeah, that's the video. See you guys.